today I'll be talking about how to make a website portfolio with WordPress, Part 2. Yesterday, we went over the first 4 points that you should consider when making a website portfolio with WordPress. Today, we're going to go over the next 3 and how to actually build a website with these tips in mind. Number 5, watch out for conflicts of interest. Right now, schools are very competitive with each other. They don't like to lose students. Also, new schools don't like to see other schools' stuff, so be careful about listing what could be perceived to be rivals of who you want to court or to get something from. If you have a portfolio and you're trying to get a job, and you went to a rival school from the one that the person who is hiring you came from, that could be a problem. This is about you and promoting your work. To be on the safe side, remove references that could be future conflicts of interest. Save certain information for resumes only, and keep your portfolio conflict-free. You shouldn't have ads on your portfolio sites. The reason why is that the site is supposed to be all about you, and ads distract from you. You don't want someone accidentally clicking on something and then going to a completely different site. Also, it's a little bit tacky. So if you have a style, an ad will probably interrupt your style. It's better if your site is all about you and your work, and you monetize on another site or on another platform. Your website is supposed to be like a business card, and you wouldn't put other people's ads on your business card. Also, effects like flashing can be considered annoying. If you want to put something like that on your site because you think it's impressive, then put it in a separate area, like effects, and label it effects. Again, you don't want anything to distract from you, so if you have a few impressive things that don't take up too much bandwidth, then that's okay. Now, if you have sponsorships, then that's different. You might want to post those, as it shows people who are basically your patrons. Then again, be careful with this. If you do decide to do this, you might end up creating a conflict of interest with the person you're trying to convince. Number 7, direct people towards interesting content. If you're trying to impress someone with your creativity or site building abilities, then you should direct them to a specific part of your site that shows off those abilities. It all depends on who's gonna look for it. If it was a really high-end job, you may have to develop a site just then for a certain type of employer. Sometimes it's hard to make one site all things for all people. You can have pages in your site that are far more developed than the others, and the people who will actually take the time to go through your work can be directed there. Instead of making a whole different site, you can just add a page. Of course, someone who is hiring you to make websites are going to want to see a bunch of websites. Someone who's hiring you to make educational videos is going to want to see a bunch of videos. You can tailor each page to an employer or profession or ability and direct the people to those specific areas. If you are being hired to make specifically science videos, you can direct the person to the science category. If you are being hired to make specifically math videos, you can direct the person to the math category, and so on and so forth. So if the people you are trying to convince are slightly different from each other, try to direct them towards content that they would specifically be impressed with. Most people don't have long attention spans. Unless it's really directed towards something that they're interested in, most times they won't even go to the end. It's not something to be offended about, just understand that that's the way it is. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to actually build a site. First of all, you'll need to choose a hosting service. Then, it's time for your theme. Using the stuff we talked about in point number 1, be realistic about your content output, try to pick out a theme that matches your content output and that you think looks good. Alright, now that you've got your theme, it's time to add in your content. After you've done that, you can basically just do a bit of touch-up, edit the font, the color, all that stuff. You can edit that sort of stuff in the Customize section. But keep in mind that different themes will have different customized menu layouts. Now, what about comments? Well, if you are showing your site for, say, a job application, then you probably don't need comments, because the person who's hiring you is probably going to tell you what they think about it in person. But if you're just showing this to everyone who looks important, then comments are okay. And finally, you might want to provide contact information on your website. Your contact information should be something that you'll know you'll have forever. A Google Voice number is best because Google Voice numbers are free and you can forward them to your email or phone.